Foster. This is assignment 2 for Speech 1608, intro speech. Considering that I'm speaking to a room full of firefighters, by a show of hands, how many of you are here in this room and in this career field because as a kid you almost burnt something down? Right, just about everybody. Well, as it happens, when I was 4 years old, I was playing with a candle and knocked it over, started the carpet on fire, almost burnt my house down. Luckily, my dad was a volunteer firefighter at the time. Came home, saved the day, disaster averted. Thinking about it, I'm a lot like my dad. He enjoys sports, I enjoy sports. He's a shooter, I like to shoot. And of course, he was a firefighter, and that's what I do. A candle may have lit that flame, but it's a grasshopper that sealed the deal. As a kid, I was what you call a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force, and I grew up all over the place. I was born in Spokane, Washington. I lived in Delaware, obviously Florida, Mississippi, and Germany. Moving around that much meant a lot of new schools and a lot of new friends. And I think that's what helped me become as outgoing of a person as I am today. Besides the moving, though, another big part of military life is the brotherhood and the big family, the giant community. I can remember doing tons of squadron picnics and field days and after-school activities that were all put on by the military. One of my dad's assignments was at Spangdahlem Air Base, Germany. It was there that I went on a life-changing field trip. In 4th grade, we took a trip to the fire stations. When the guys let us slide down the fire pole, I knew it. I was going to be a firefighter. But what sealed the deal was at the end of the tour, we got to have milk and grasshopper cookies. That was it. I knew I was going to be a firefighter. Fast forward to high school. I was on an academic track to attend college, but then I found out that the military doesn't have officer firefighters. I had to be enlisted. So in December of my senior year, I went to the Air Force recruiter and signed up only agreeing to be a firefighter. Guaranteed position. I had to wait an entire year for my training date. And then 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, my mom actually had to sign a permission slip so I could join the Air Force and be a firefighter. Speaking of ideas my mom wasn't crazy about, I was in love when I first laid eyes on Rose. I was 8 years old. My dad told me I was too young, had to wait till I was 10. But it's not what you were thinking. Rose was a .22 caliber bolt-action rifle. As promised, my dad took me out when I was 10, and we went shooting. I remember being amazed he shot the lid off a milk jug from 100 yards away. That day and many days after, he taught me the fundamentals of shooting. Breath control, sight picture, smooth trigger pull. It's not to say I was a great student at the time. I was pretty impatient and just wanted to shoot. I didn't really get it until many years later at basic training. We went through a shooting fundamentals course before we went out to learn how to shoot the M16. And I thought to myself, gee, my dad really knows what he's talking about. I finished my military career, but I still very much enjoy shooting, to the point that I even compete in practical shooting events. That competitive drive blossomed for me in high school. I couldn't wait for 9th grade so I could finally play football. I mentioned growing up in Arizona and Florida, both of which are pretty warm climates. Even still, I found days that were cool enough to wear my dad's Letterman jacket. That thing was cool. It had a big varsity letter on the chest, but on the back it had giant patches showing his accolades in football and wrestling. He was a football star and a wrestling district champion. Well, high school came, and I played football, wrestled, and ran track. I was nowhere near the star he was, but I did pretty well. In my sophomore year, I was called up to play for the varsity football team. In wrestling, I went to the state championship. Now that we're a bit older, my dad and I have slowed down a little bit, and we play golf together. I'd like to conclude with a quote by Clarence Buddington Kelland. He said, "My father didn't tell me how to live. He lived and let me watch him do it." You see, he didn't push me to join the military or tell me to be a firefighter. I knew I wanted to serve my country, and I knew I wanted to help people like he did. He stressed gun safety and shooting fundamentals, and I built on that and became a competitive shooter. And he didn't force me into playing sports like one of those crazy sports dads do. He showed me that hard work and dedication pays off. And now I strive to do the same thing for my son. Thank you.